Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, the Cottage Witch, and today I'm doing the deck wrap up for, let's say spring? I don't know. I didn't do a lot of tarot work in March, and I did a little bit more in April. So I'm sort of merging those and the beginning of May together because, yeah, I just am. One of the decks I used in March was the Gentle Tarot in a Tin because it's a perennial favorite. And also, it's sort of my star card deck, I decided, in May when I need to be reminded that spring is still coming. It just hasn't arrived yet. This is the deck I use. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. So I was using this when it was March because, I mean, we had snow into April. It was ridiculous. I'm in Canada, so that's what you get in Canada, unless you're in Vancouver or something, I guess. But it was getting a bit depressing and gray and brown, and everybody else was getting spring, and we were still not getting spring. So I pulled this out to remind me that spring in Alberta is just on a different schedule, but it's still coming. And it's here now, which I am so excited about. So that was, whoops, that one. The other one I used for the sort of transition from winter into spring is the Tarot of Persephone's Garden. I also use this for the transition from sort of, well, the summer to fall transition, or the fall to winter transition. Fall here is like 2 weeks long. Spring is also about 2 weeks. It goes right from, why is it so dark? There's very little time between winter and summer here. So winter lasts about 6 months and summer lasts about three or four. And then spring and fall are just abbreviated seasons, which is unfortunate because they're my favorite and I want more of them. But I don't get more of them. So we had about 2 weeks of spring, like proper spring. So March was sort of spring weather, but nothing was blooming yet. And now it's, 25 degrees. I don't know what that is in American. Sorry. But it feels like summer here now. Well, except for today because it's raining. So I don't know. The seasons here get a little confused sometimes, and spring and fall are very short. But this is the deck I pull out for both of those transitional periods that get a bit messy, a bit muddy, not quite as vibrant as summer, but still fascinating in their own way. So yeah, this is one of my transitional decks. And I love it. But this and the Gentle Tarot, I think I'll put away for a while now. The last transitional thing I do from winter to summer is switch from, so this is the deck I use sort of for the Kaliach, the Spirit of Winter. This is the Wisdom of the Kaliach by Jane Bredson, which I think, to order this, I think you have to message her on Facebook or Instagram and get on her mailing list, because she does a print run every year or two. But it's beautiful and I love it. So I'll pull one of these every now and again in the winter. And then I pull from the Tarot of the Abyss as well, and sort of use the Oracle card as a spread prompt for the Tarot of the Abyss cards that I pull. So these two stay on my shelf, on one of my bookshelves all winter. They just sort of, that's where they live. And I enjoy that a lot. And then when it gets to be closer to summer, I've got now the Tarot Arthurian. So this is by Claire Duval, but the illustrations for both this and Tarot of the Abyss are by Anna Turian. So they sort of match in a weird way. So this is the summer equivalent to me of the Tarot of the Abyss. It's much brighter and more colorful and more hopeful. I've gotten this card about 3 times so far this spring. So It's cool. I love this deck. I haven't read the guidebook yet. It is in French, which I should be able to muddle through. I just haven't done it yet, because, you know, time and energy. But I really love this deck. It's very spring summer. And it was time for some more vibrancy in my life. So yeah, this is the, I love this cup here. It's so beautiful. It's like a galaxy in the cup. So yeah, these are my, so this will stay out all summer now, I think, on my bookshelf. And those are sort of my transition ones. Oh, no, I have one more that I use in the spring. And that is the Spirit Song Tarot. Snakes have come up a lot for me recently for some reason. I'm not sure why. But I'm sure that means I'll get the deck that Rose Bay is working on with snakes if she puts it up on Make playing cards. But this is a very spring palette to me. It's like summer hasn't, the vibrancy of summer isn't there yet. But it's still colorful, it's just muted. And there's a lot of movement in the deck, so things are starting to happen. So this is a very spring deck for me. I pull this out. I don't use it a lot, but every now and again. Spider alert. Yeah, so I use that for just usually a couple of weeks in the spring. Okay, now that it's like properly spring, and some days more like summer, because spring, as I say, lasted about 2 weeks, there are a few other brighter, more vibrant sort of decks that I use. One is one that I've made for myself, the Prairie Herbalist Tarot, because I am a herbalist, well, trying to be. I mean, there are no real qualifications for that. Anybody can call themselves a herbalist. There's no certification board or anything like that, but so I've been learning that for a few years, and I go about foraging a lot and gardening. So that's from my garden a couple of years ago. Same with that. And that is from foraging along the river here. So, and that's outside in a nearby park. So this deck for me is all the plants that I have. I don't know if it's still too dark. I'm curious. Oh well. Clearly I am not a professional cinematographer, so apologies for that. Anyway, these were both from my balcony a couple of years ago. The ground ivy, that might have been just last year. Oh, I can't remember now. Goldenrod. Goldenrod always has ladybug. If you want to see ladybugs, find some goldenrod. They seem to like each other. Anyway, these are all the plants that I either have relationships with or I'm developing relationships with in terms of both a spiritual practice and herbalism, foraging, just making physical medicines, that sort of thing. So, bit of both worlds there. It's looking like a bee balm season. My bee balm has gone bananas already, and it's only May. So yeah, I spend a lot of time with this in the summer, especially on those days when I can't be outside with the plants, because either it's pouring rain, which only happens occasionally, or is way too hot. I have an intolerance to the heat. Yeah. The other decks I've been using a lot in the last couple of weeks are the Sacred Bee ones. So this is the, I don't know, one of them is the Journey of the Sacred Bee and one of them is the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee, and I can never remember which is which. But this is a Thothy deck with a lot of bees, and I love it. It's got some things I don't use. It's got the astrological symbols. It's got apparently some sacred geometry situation, which I know nothing about, but I still love it. It's so colorful and vibrant and full of life and enthusiasm. So yeah, I love this deck. I only got it this winter, so this is my first summer with it, and I'm very happy about it. It is so pretty. And it's got an interesting balance for me between water and fire. So I've been enjoying that lately as well. That's a character. And then I've been using that with the Oracle. Mr. Eagle. Which I've used a little bit less. I've used the tarot deck more, but the Oracle is fun as well. So sometimes I'll do the same as I did with the Wisdom of the Kelly. I'll pull one or two of these as like a spread theme, and then pull tarot cards based on whatever the Oracle card is that I get. So sometimes I do that. Sometimes I rope in the Herbalist Tarot as well, and bring some plants into that, because the reason I've been more interested in pollinators lately, especially native bees, is because of their relationship to native plants and sometimes non-native plants. And so I've spent the last couple of years learning a bit more about those and going on pollinator walks and native plant rescues and all that sort of thing. So it's yeah, it's pretty interesting. And so that's where this sort of comes into it, I guess. Yeah, so this will be out for the foreseeable future because I'm really enjoying that. Also, the edges are all colorful and shiny, and they're just good fun. The last one I've been using a lot lately, I've got a couple other decks that I'll show that I want to use more now that it's spring / summer, depending on the day. But this one I've been using, the Primordial Tarot. I wanted a deck, so in some of the journeying I've been doing lately, I get a lot of this image of sinking into the mud. And so I was scouring I got distracted by pigeons as per usual. They're taking over my balcony garden. They went and pulled out the rhubarb the other day, just yoinked it out, and then left it on the concrete to die, I guess. I don't know. I replanted it, but I don't know that it'll survive. So thank you, pigeons. I don't actually mind them so much as long as they don't try and nest on my balcony, because then they make a big mess and I end up with little eggs and it's chaos. Anyway, tangent. Sorry. Feet in the mud. I wanted a deck to work with that image of sinking in the mud, being enveloped by the mud. And this really is the closest deck I could find in my collection to that feeling. So yeah, I've actually never used this one. I forgot that I had this one. This was a Rachel from Second Thoughts About the Mission made me do it, and I don't really know why I got it originally. I mean, it's fascinating to look at, but I didn't have a use for it. But I got it anyway, and I'm glad I did, because now I have a use for it. So this is a sort of journeying adjacent, exploring some of those themes of getting down into the earth. Also, we're in a perpetual drought here in Alberta on the prairie, so we're very landlocked, so it's not very watery here. We have 2 rivers running through the city, but they're very low at the moment because the glacier is melting, and the water table is low, and we haven't gotten very much rain or very much snow last year, so you know, water is a problem. Which it shouldn't be in Alberta. There's no good reason for water to be a problem here. And yet we have not managed it very well, so maybe that's why it keeps coming up as an image, a recurrent image for me. Anyway, that's the bare feet squelching in the mud deck that I've been using. There are a few other decks that I want to keep out. So I've pulled out the Maria Tarot because I want to get back into using this, and I just need more color and exuberance in my life at the moment, because the world is a disaster, and this deck is gorgeous. And yeah, so a few of these decks I've just brought out because of the vibrancy and the sense of aliveness. Vitality, I guess, is the word for that. But I haven't used this yet this spring, but I'm going to keep it out on my shelf and play a little bit. It is a Thoth clone, which I'm not super comfortable using. I'm not adept at the Thoth or anything. But this deck I seem to be able to use more intuitively for some reason. It's just Thoth with a bit more feeling or something. I love it. I love this card a lot. Empress. Yeah, so that is that one, which is going to stay around and about for a while, as will this one. This is the Margaret Peterson, which has been a favorite for several years now, since I've gotten it. It's very safe in my collection. It's never going anywhere. And it also is connected to journeying and dreaming for me. Those sort of more spiritual themes and whatnot. It just, I don't know, it fits into that spot in my life really well. And is so beautiful. And the color work and brushwork or whatever, how things are composed is so impactful. So yeah, this will stay out for a while and I'll play around with this and some spring summer pathworking, I think. That is my plan anyway, and as we know, things always go according to plan. But anyway, that's that. Ooh, that's pretty. I have been starting lately, so this is a deck I use to connect with ancestors with. I have to zoom out a little bit for this one. My grandmother in particular, who passed 4 years ago, and somehow this has become her deck in my sort of general ancestors deck. And I haven't done a lot of ancestor work. I've started leaving out water and sometimes tea and whatnot for them. Just as a way of, like a form of remembrance, I suppose. So I wanted to pull this deck out in connection with that and just sort of do a little exploring. I don't really have a, end goal in mind. Just see what develops. And I really love this. This is one of my all-time favorite collage decks, I think. Although I've got a couple new ones that I'm going to play with, so you'll see. But yeah. So look at that. It's just gorgeous. So yeah, and then the last one that I brought out for, where did I put the cover for that? For vibrancy is the Tarot Avatara. This has come out the last couple of summers because, of course it has. Why wouldn't it? It's gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful decks I own. And it's one of the most vibrant decks. The punchiest deck I think I own in terms of the color work and the power of the imagery. It's so beautiful. I love Frida Kahlo, and I love Gabby Angus West's artwork and her take on Frida's life and journey through the tarot. This is also a bit Thoth-ish. It's not quite the Thoth clone that the Maria tarot is, but it's Thoth-ish, which I like because I gotta get more comfortable with Thoth one of these days. Maybe. Might take a decade or two, but maybe I'll get there. And this will be out possibly on and off, but all summer I expect, because it's one of my all-time favorites. It's also, like, tactily one of my favorites. It feels beautiful. It shuffles beautifully. The gilding is beautiful. It's not that sharp, scratchy gold gilding. It's just gorgeous, and I love everything about it. Yeah, so that is the end of the decks that I want to use this summer. It'll be out and about on my shelf, and then I guess I'll do probably another one of these in June or July or something, and we'll see what actually transpired. So anyway, that's all I've got for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.